Okay, I'm going to be doing now a problem in 3.5, and it will be problem number 46. And the problem states that we have the square root of 5x plus 1 equals 1 plus the square root of 5x. I have two radicals here. My goal is to get one of the radicals by itself. The one on the right has a 1 being added to it, so it's not by itself. But the one on the left is by itself. So you want to isolate one radical. And since I already have one isolated, I'm going to pick that one. So isolate one radical, and in this case it's going to be the one on the left is already done for us. Okay, so then I'm going to raise both sides of the equation by a power equal to the index. Power equal to the index. And when we're talking about square root, the index is understood to be 2. So I'm going to take the left side, which is the square root of 5x plus 1, and raise the entire side to the second power. On the right side, I'm going to take that entire expression, 1 plus the square root of 5x, and I'm going to put the whole expression inside of parentheses. That's what we mean by raising both sides, not the terms, the entire side. And on the left side, when our power is equal to our index, or our index is equal to our power, we have poof, poof. Radical disappears, we're left over with just the radicand. So on the left, we end up with 5x plus 1, which is exactly our goal in this particular step. On the right side, I'm going to write this out as a squared binomial, and to do that, I'm going to write out each factor of my squared binomial. Why am I doing this? To make sure that when I multiply, I FOIL correctly. So this is the first term of my binomial. This is the second term. I'm going to be multiplying first terms together, outer terms together, inner terms together, last terms together. So this can get kind of confusing when we have a radical involved. So this is my first term, and this is my second term of each binomial. And you want to make sure that you multiply correctly. So the left side is going to stay the way it is, 5x plus 1. And the right side, I'm going to take my first terms multiplied times each other, 1 times 1. I'm going to take my outer terms, 1 times the square root of 5x. I'm going to take my inner terms, positive 1 times the square root of 5x. And then I'm going to take my last terms. And if it helps you, rewrite this as 5x times 5x under the radical. Simplifying a little bit further, I have 1 plus the square root of 5x plus the square root of 5x plus, and I'm going to rewrite this as the square root of 5x squared. Combining like terms on the right side, I end up with 1, and then how many square roots of 5x do I have? Remember, you just add the coefficients. Do not add the radicands. They're just going along for the ride. You're just going to add your coefficients. So I have 1 plus 1, which makes 2 radical 5x's. So add coefficients of radicals. Maybe I should write down like radicals. And then this last expression, my index and my power, or index is understood to be 2, my power is 2. What ends up happening? The index the power, they disappear, they cancel each other out, and we're left over with 5x. Now everything is as simplified as it's going to get. Right here I'm going to make a warning. So let me write this in here. Warning, warning, Will Rogers, warning. Do not add 1 plus 2. Do not add those two together, because the 2 is being multiplied by the radical. So in your order of operations, it says that you need to take care of your multiplication first. Well, we don't know how to simplify that any more than we have it right now, but we still need to follow our order of operations. So we need to make sure that we multiply by the radical first and then add whatever answer you get here to the 1. So if you just add the 2, this guy over here, the radical, he's feeling awfully lonely. Why did you add the 2 but you didn't decide to bring him along with it? So do not add these two together. You are as simplified as you're going to get on both sides of the equation right now. And now what we're going to do is we're going to start all over again. And the first step is we want to isolate the radical. But in this case, it's a different radical. So we're going to isolate the radical to radical 5x. So we want to get that by itself. To do that, I'm going to move my 1 and my 5x over to the other side. When I subtract 1 from both sides and I subtract 5x from both sides, I'm left over with 0 on the left side and 2 square root of 5x on the right side. Now you go through the same operations that we've gone through before. You're going to raise both sides of your equation by a power equal to the index, which in this case is 2. So I'm going to take 0 to the second power, and I'm going to take 2 square root of 5x to the second power. 0 to the second power is 0. On the right side, remember that you need to take the 2 to the second power as well as the square root of 5x to the second power. 2 to the second power is 4. Radical 5x to the second power. Well, our index is 2. Our power is 2. Poof, poof. We're left over with just your radicand, which is 5x. Multiplying, you end up with 0 equals 20x. And then we have a linear equation solving for x. You're going to divide by 20. And when we divide by 20, we have 0 over 20 equals x. And then that just simplifies to x equal to 0. Always check your answers, whether it's dealing with a problem where we have 0 as our answer or any other problem where we have a different answer. I'm going to check in my original equation, and my original equation is up here, and it says that I have the square root of 5 times, what did I have for my value of x? 0 plus 1, and that has to be equal to 1 plus the square root of 5 times x, which is 0. Simplifying, 5 times 0 is 0 plus 1. On the right side, we have 1 plus the square root of 5 times 0 is 0. Square root of 1, 1. 1 plus the square root of 0, 0. So 1 is equal to 0, oh, I'm sorry, 1 is equal to 1 plus 0, or 1 is equal to 1. So it checks. And your answer, x equals 0.